As an American, Canadian, and of most countries in the quote-unquote free world, there are things going on all around us that we don't have a leveraged say in. We don't get to vote on wars, on the FDA, USDA, the CIA, and bailouts. We don't get to vote on most of the laws that allow people, whom we don't vote for, with corporations that we don't elect, be able to control our life's necessities in ways that no citizen wanted in the first place. And even if we did have a vote, most of the public would vote the way the TV told them. And we can't prove that the voting machines aren't rigged if the public did vote for the better. Most informed people in their own honor don't vote because a vote for anything or anyone is a vote for the government, and it just encourages the government's machine. Anything that is even allowed to be voted for, we know has benefits to the elite who made the bill or got the politician in place in the first place. It's rigged by design. It sounds absolutely outrageous that a country could do this. The greatest country in the world could make up reasons to oppress its own citizens, go to war and kill and oppress others, and kill its own soldiers, all for profit and control. It is a business. Imagine circus owners who treat their animals and crew horribly just to put on a good show and make a profit, and then kill everyone backstage when the night's over, only to enlist the ignorant fans of last night's show into their act in tonight's show, kill them, and do the whole thing over and over again, only on a global scale. It's true what they say, that most people are sheeple who follow the herd and fear the dog who is always at their heels. They would rather have the security of the herd than the responsibility of the freedom of taking a stand. And we are a profitable farm, by the way, to the farm owners, who are the elite that control the domesticated world. Since we are so numerous, 7 billion of us, the shepherds have trained their sheep, dogs, and other sheep to patrol us in a compartmentalized yet all-encompassing fashion. We don't have many physical fences, except for those who need them, so the control is through our mind. To make sure we don't backlash against the machine in place, we must be tricked into thinking we are in a natural situation and that we are free by giving us one day of the year to vote on a bunch of shuffled shit, to quote George Carlin. There is also a trick on our body. We are thoroughly poisoned from conception through adulthood to keep us dumb, docile, and not able to critically think, because our brains are literally demineralized through the crap agricultural food staples we have eaten and poisoned with fluoride and chloramines in the water, pesticides and xenoestrogens in the food, and heavy metals and volatile organic compounds in the air we breathe, vaccines, and that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of controlling people through what is now known to be called eugenics. Economically, it's those that have the vision of a utopian society who have the highest integrity, and with integrity, it's much more challenging to make an abundance of money, at least not quickly, as you have to pave the way and have the audacity to create a heart and earth-centered business. With less money, we don't get to spend money on higher quality food, nor fund the people growing and processing higher quality foods. And thus it's a cycle of limited physiological and economic means, impacting even the smartest people who understand the atrocities of the system in place. That being said, the demand for higher quality food, like superfoods, is higher than the supply right now. This trend is growing exponentially, which is awesome. By the way, the United States was supposed to be a republic. A republic being a government which basically has minimal laws that keep people from stealing your stuff, and that has the government leave you alone. Several generations ago, we got indoctrinated into thinking that we are a democracy, and that all other countries should be a democracy just like us. However, with democracies, the majority oppresses the minority. And historically, all democracies are short-lived and immediately turn into an oligarchy, in which all the power is just in the hands of the few opportunistic elite who seize control and ultimately destroy the nation. In fact, it's the elite who had the idea of democracy in the first place, because with voting, the winner can be bought through disinformation, doublespeak, media, and otherwise hidden agendas. Rome was successful because of centuries of being a republic. When it effectively became a democracy, it then fell after a couple hundred years as a democracy. The US is about a couple hundred years old, isn't it? Now, the government is an illusion anyways, because the only thing real is what is truly sustainable that impacts us from the roots up. Also, just to be clear, every government and state and branch of government are corporations. Your local town is a corporation, the United States is a corporation. Thus, the real system we need to play is nature, combined with a truly unblocked pursuit of sustainable technology. I think that we need to combine the tried and true methods of the techniques of the indigenous peoples, the few that are left, that still live by themselves or mostly by themselves, and the few people who carry on their lineage after a tribe has been made extinct, and combine that with a high level of utopian technology that allows us to skip intensive labor and actually makes the environment healthier by its use. Technology that makes us healthier. For example, a cell phone that emits frequencies that boost the health of our cells rather than cause cancer in our cells. Or a motor that structures water in its design rather than putting petroleum chemicals downstream. Or a farm that is a food forest that sustains itself through its own soil nurturing, moisture holding ecosystem supporting diversity, rather than a monocrop that requires lots of poisons and ends up with horribly unhealthy end food products anyways. The people who are not dumb and can see this vision, they need to find their contribution. But it can't just be words or spreading the awareness of the problem only. Each of our contributions to the cause of creating paradise on Earth, where each person is autonomous and free and has an environment that supports life. Our contribution must be also based on our personal missions and our health. And our personal mission is to each her or his own. Could be being the best parent they can be, could be any occupation really, as long as the mission is about updating that avenue of the mission consistently to something that works with nature and causes health. Updating our mission is just like updating our food choices. If someone is eating inorganic spinach, they update to organic spinach. Someone eating organic spinach could update to garden-grown heirloom spinach. Someone eating that could update to wild varieties of spinach or lamb's quarters. Each step being not overwhelming, but important to take action on, and causing better and better health and wiser systems of behavior. So if someone is a clothes designer, for example, they could update their fabric from genetically modified pesticide cotton and petroleum-derived fibers to organic cotton, hemp, and organic wool. If they were making business clothes, they could make those clothes still appropriate for business, but also for an active lifestyle. They would get to keep their passion and mission of designer clothes, but add to it the passion and mission of a sustainable, paradise-promoting, eco-healthy lifestyle. It's one foot in front of the other for businesses and good habits anyways. Why not head in a better direction? See, the machine that's in place puts booby traps and unleveraged situations in front of people who are on a mission to save the world. You gotta be clever, and these days you can't criticize the machine without getting a backlash. It's the sheep that patrol the sheep, more than the police, the government, and the corporations control the sheep. See, you say an idea, and people say, that's stupid, overly imaginative, you conspiracy buff. Or if you criticize, say, a war, then the sheep say, oh, you don't appreciate the troops and you're an arse and nitpicking traitor. The idea is that you're supposed to be too afraid of what other people might think of you to speak your mind or take action on your truth. Because how many of us are taking full action on everything we can think of? If we did, we would have to immediately get an electric car, but even then we're driving on paved road, which are paving the earth, and all those paved roads should be turned into superfood farmland, in my opinion. And then the truth is we shouldn't pay our taxes because it's a complete infringement of our rights, and taxes don't actually pay for anything. Every year, all year long, taxes money immediately is transferred into securities, which are basically stock in corporations and banks. who pillage the earth and force people out of their homes via foreclosures. And money itself is actually debt notes that correlate not to any real value in the world, but to debt owed with interest back to the government and banks that created money out of thin air in the first place. So becoming a 100% idealist today is easier said than done. Although it is possible for extended periods of time, it seems like we have to work with the system a little in order to change ourselves and the system. But we don't even want the system. So what is the solution that we can all agree on and take action on starting today? Well, the real solution is what we can do at home. If someone is making something in a giant factory sponsored by the government, even if it's something marketed as a cure or a necessary fix for society, we know that's bogus. The real solutions are what you can do at home and also in your neighborhood. Everything else is not real, not tangible. Everything else is the government and the machine in place. So the way out of this mess, the way into real freedom, is to work with nature, full on, as best as you can right now, right where you are. Starting your own garden on the windowsill in your apartment or on a larger piece of land in the country could be the #1 act of civil disobedience. Planting perennial seeds so that you have a food forest that continues to improve upon itself each year rather than having to start over every spring, giving you food in every season, requiring some initial effort but longer-term self-sustaining ecosystems. Voting with your money on what foods you do import into the kitchen, those foods being organic, superfoods, super herbs, because all of those other foods out there are just ripping you off and ripping the land and the farmers off. And wildcrafting from your local area, that's so good. Wildcrafting, when done right, actually helps the plants propagate themselves and help those species thrive and not get crushed by either invasive species or the urban sprawls that concrete over them. Showing eager people how to do these things is so good, and how to get more off the grid, such as through gathering your own spring water, creating superb soil for gardening so that the food can thrive in your environment so that you don't have to import things like spinach from another continent. Meanwhile, you could have the best wild variety of spinach in the world growing right out your front door. And showing people these things in fun, community-friendly situations. This is what I think about all day long. What's my next best step to implementing my own paradise? What's my next best step to implementing my own paradise? Everything you can implement successfully yourself is duplicatable. It's duplicatable. The best thing you can do is not about helping someone way over there live a little bit better. That consciousness is one of my biggest pet peeves. The best thing you can do is helping yourself live a lot better. A lot better. The more health and abundance you have, the more you can help others. And it's not greedy, because it's all about love. It's about loving the land, loving yourself, which builds upon your ability to unconditionally love others, emotionally and practically. Even the most loving person, if they don't get their life's basic needs and they get jammed into a corner like so many out there, they'll lash out. They don't have time to fully express their love in a situation like that. They gotta get the hell out of there. And so many people, that's all they can think all day. How do I get the hell out of this situation? I gotta somehow pay my bills this month. My mortgage is overdue. I hate my job. I can't do what I want because I gotta get out of some other impending situation first. See, all of those thoughts are so common, and we gotta take the important, audacious steps now, or we'll be stuck in that thought process. The truth is, you do know what the next step is. Everybody, unless they are very severely brainwashed, does know what the next step is. In integrity, in honor, in their life's highest mission, they know what the simple actions are that they can take today. They just need the encouragement. One of the best ways to get encouragement is to give it. Give encouragement, and you have encouragement. And the next thing you knew, you have momentum. And then the people around you have momentum. Momentum in creating better and better life-promoting situations and opportunities that people are raving about. The earth is not sick, by the way. The earth is not sick. People cannot hurt the earth. People can only create temporary microclimates that hurt other people and life forms. Thus, nature always wins in time. So when you think that the machine has rigged the social system you're trying to make the best of, just know that nature rigged it so that nature wins. And you are nature, so you win, unless you don't work with nature. We got to get out of the cities and out of the mental oppression that made the public allow the powers that be to take control. They only control us as we let them. That's their game. We have the vast numbers, they are just the few. All we got to do is wake up collectively with momentum, take action on what gives us health, and give encouragement to others to do our own version of what gives real health, longevity, passion, and joy.
This is a manzanita berry. It's got amazing leaves that we're picking right now to make a tea. We're gonna dehydrate these, or just let them dehydrate, or put them in the dehydrator and make a tea out of them, a decoction. And then all of these white flowers will turn into red berries. These berries are such an excellent food for the local Northern California environment. The flowers are actually pretty good. They're not as sweet as the berries. Hello, yellow mustache. Our generation, which is actually several generations, my parents, myself, and my future, younger children kind of generation, we are all discovering the secrets of longevity, wild food, superfood, spring water, healing practices.